So this tutorial is about how to install your applications, or otherwise known as your CGI scripts. If you scroll down from your login page of your main page on your cPanel, you'll notice that you have a couple of sections here. One is e-commerce and the other is CGI scripts. Now the e-commerce section is all about shopping and shopping carts, so you can actually set up an online shop with any one of these pieces of software. The installation process for all of these CGI scripts, including the e-commerce, are very similar, and I'm going to teach you today how to install particularly WordPress, because it's a very common application that's used for blogging. So we're going to go ahead and click on WordPress under the section CGI scripts, and you'll be faced with a screen that looks like this. Now please note, when you install this script, it will use one of your SQL databases. So you need to bear that in mind. Read through the instructions when you're installing a piece of software, just to make sure whether it uses a database or whether it doesn't need one, whether it uses files to store information. Now, the first step is to actually choose an installation directory. And as we spoke about before, all of your web content will be saved into public HTML. So what we need to do is create a new folder in the public HTML which relates to this installation of software. So that we know what we're dealing with, I'm going to keep the name relevant to the application we're installing, which is WordPress. So I'm going to call this folder WordPress. And once I've done that, I'm going to click the install button, and I should get some confirmation on the screen that that script has now been installed. There we go. So your script has now been installed, and it will be located at that web address or that URL. Now, if you want to actually configure, once you've installed the script, you need to then configure the script. Now, you can do that either by clicking on the link here, or you can click on the link there, or you can simply just open a new tab and type in your domain name with the name of the folder that you just created, which is WordPress. So if you just do a / at the end of your domain name and put the word WordPress, that will take you straight to that site. So that'll redirect you in a couple of seconds, and now it will ask you to set up your WordPress site for the first time. So firstly, what we need to do is give the website a title. So I'm going to call it Dmomo's blog, and then we're going to set up a username, which I will call Dmomo, and a password, which is Dmomo and Dmomo again. And then you insert your email address so that anybody who posts on your blog, if they want to contact you, they can. So my email address is admin@dmomo.co.uk. And the next thing is whether you want to make your blog searchable via search engines. Now I do want to make it searchable, so I'm going to leave the tick in there. Next, we install the application. There we go. And that says it's now been installed. However, it was successful, so there's no more steps. If you were expecting them, sorry to disappoint, but there's no more steps. It's all been done. Very simple and straightforward. The next page you're faced with is the actual administration login page. So when we set the username up before, you'll need to log in with these credentials. You can notice at the top here, it's actually changed the URL to go to wp-login, which is the login page for the administration. So what we'll do now, we'll log in with the username we set up and the password, and that will take us into the administration section of the WordPress software. Now, the very first thing you want to do once you've installed the software is to go to your dashboard and click on the updates button on the dashboard. Now, you'll notice here that it says you have a version installed already. However, the version you have installed is only 3. There is a newer version which you can reinstall called 3.5.2. So what we're going to do is go ahead and update this software by clicking the reinstall now button. Rather than download it, we just want to reinstall it within the window we're looking at. So we go ahead and do that. That will go ahead and download that content from the WordPress site. and it will carry on unpacking and installing it on its own. So now when we go back to dashboard, as you can see under the update tab, it will say you now have the latest version of WordPress and everything is fine. Okay, so now that we have the latest version, what you can also do, if you do have plugins installed in your WordPress, it's a good idea to update them plugins from time to time. Now, what I'm going to talk to you about first is this section here. So firstly, what we'll do, we'll create a new post. Now, if we just have a look at all of the posts that have been made, you can see there's a generic post, and that just says hello world. So what we'll do is we'll actually delete that by putting a tick in the box here, and then we'll go to actions and we'll delete it. Where is it? Delete. Oh, we can just put it in the trash. We can just trash that anyway. So once we've trashed that, we're ready to create a new post. So we'll click up here on new post, and I will type in here, this is my first post. Hello, welcome to my blog. I'm Dmomo. Right, so once we've made a first post, obviously you have the options here to, there's lots of options for spell checkers to change the type of text, centralize, left align, you've got quotation marks, bullet points, and various different ways that you can manipulate the text. Once you've made your post, you can add some media. So say for example you want to insert a video, or you want to add a picture into the blog post. What we'll do for the time being is we'll actually just link to a video on a YouTube site. So if we quickly go to YouTube and just type in music, and we just pick the very first video we find, which just so happens to be this one, we'll copy the link for that, and then we'll go back to our post and post it in here. And that is a YouTube video. We'll now insert that into the post. However, we made a little bit of a mistake here, so I'm just going to correct it, put it over there, and now I'm going to publish this post. Now that this post has been published, you're able to view it here. So what we'll do, we'll open that in a new tab, and as you can see here, this is what the outside world will see. The outside world won't see this administration screen. The outside world will only be able to see this screen here. Now, if we get rid of the URL and just go to dmomo.co.uk/WordPress, as you can see, that will take you to your main WordPress site, and it will show you your first post, and it will also link to that same YouTube video that we've inserted before. Right, so that's how you make a post. Now, in order to get rid of a post, if we have a look at all of the posts that are there, if you don't like that, then you can just trash it, or you can edit it, or make a complete new post. Okay, so you can also create categories within there. So if we wanted to create a few categories, what you could do is, let's just delete that category. Oh, I have to select it first. Right, okay, so that's a default category. We actually need to make some categories now. So our new category is going to be called, say, for instance, cars. And we'll just put that in as cars again. Yes, and the description will be cars. Okay, now this other category we can make bikes, bikes, bikes. So now we've got a couple of categories, cars and bikes. This uncategorized one is a default category, so you can't delete that one. However, when we make a new post now, it will be car 1, and then we'll publish that into cars. So over here where it says categories, we actually want to put this post into cars, publish that, and then we have a second post now which is bike one, and then bike one, and we'll put that into the bike section and not the cars section. Okay, so now when we go back to our blog, you'll notice that you have two sections. So when we come to categories, we've got a category for bikes, and we should have a category for car. Oh, right, what I've done, I just changed that, didn't I? I actually edited the post instead of making a new one. So what we need to do now is add a second post, and this one's going to be car one, and that's going to go into cars, and we're going to publish that. Come back to here and refresh. If we go back to our home page, as you can see now we have two categories. We have one category as bikes, one category as cars. Okay, so that's fairly simple to make your categories. As I say, you can add in media, you can make media libraries, you can add extra pages, you can create comment sections, you can change the appearance of how your blog looks. So if you want to change the themes, you can actually install some new ones. Say for instance you like the blue ones, let's just find some blue themes. Now as you can see here we've got some blue themes. Now you can actually install any one of these themes you like. Once that's installed, you can activate it, and when we visit our site again, as you can see, the whole theme of the site has changed. So it's very easy to add new themes. You can put extra widgets in which give you various different things for your website. So if you want to add an RSS feed in, you just drag it across, and then you enter the URLs of the feeds. So that's the RSS feeds. You can also put in comments, the recent comments, search option for the website. There's lots and lots of different widgets and extra add-ins that you can use on WordPress. Now what I'm going to show you now is the plugin section. The plugin section is very, very useful. You can find plugins for almost any purpose that you want, and they actually improve the functionality and extend the range of abilities within the software. So what we're going to do is have a look at some of the plugins by clicking the Add New button at the top here. So we click on Add New, and if you know what plugin you're looking for, then you can simply do a search for it. If you don't know what you're looking for, you can have a look at some of the most common suggestions over here. For example, if you want to add a comment section, if you want to integrate your blog with Facebook, we'll have a look at some of the Facebook ones. So you've got some social plugins for Facebook. There should be a Facebook like button. Facebook like. If we do a search for Facebook like, as you can see, you now have some options here to create Facebook like buttons under your post. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to install this Facebook like button plugin. If we install that plugin, click OK. That goes ahead and downloads it. We activate the plugin. And now, once that's been activated, we can actually configure the settings for that plugin. So my Facebook ID will be dmomo. Display like button. Standard Facebook image. Yes, that's fine. Yeah, standard one. Yeah, we'll leave it as like, yeah. And then we'll put it after every post. It's going to be in English, and we'll save that change. So now that you've added that in, if we go back to our blog here and we refresh our blog, you'll notice the like button has come underneath every single one of your posts. Okay, so the plugin section is very extensive. As I say, there's plugins for almost anything that you can think of. If you want to do some search engine optimization, so you want to be listed in Google, you do some SEO, as it says here. The SEO is an all-in-one SEO plugin, powerful features. Let's install an SEO plugin. So that means Google will find your blog quickly. Let's activate that plugin. And now under SEO, we can now edit the settings. Now, you may need to understand the coding for this, but yeah, I wouldn't mess about with that. I think you probably need to know a little bit about coding to mess about in here. But once that SEO plugin is activated, obviously, as you can see here, it gives you control over titles, tags, meta tags, rich snippets, slugs, tags, auto links, and much more. So that will actually help you to be discovered on Google. There's a lot of other settings. You can create users so that when you're here, you can actually log in as a user instead of the admin. You can also some handy tools. This in the tools section, you have a press this button, which is a quick way of creating a blog, or quick way of adding a post. Oh, that one doesn't work. So there we go. We now have another option under SEO here, so we can actually configure our search engine optimization quite extensively through here. So that's pretty much everything you need to know about installing and maintaining WordPress. Now, if you actually want to get rid of WordPress and uninstall it, say for instance you need to recover one of your databases because you don't have enough. As you can see over here, we've used 3 of 20, but if I needed an extra database and I wanted to get rid of WordPress, the best way to do it, firstly, would be to go to the File Manager, go into the public HTML folder where all your websites are saved, and we created this folder earlier for that installation, WordPress. Now, the first thing you do is you delete the folder in your folder structure that you created. Okay, once that's been deleted, we then go back to the home site and we go to our databases, because remember WordPress used up one of our databases. And as you can see here, I've actually got 2 WordPress databases. One of them is the one that I've been using for many years now. As you can see, it's 11 megabytes in size. And this is the one I've just installed for the purposes of the video, which is actually only 2 megabytes. So what I'm going to do, I'm actually going to delete that SQL database. And as you can see now, that's now removed completely the WordPress installation. I'm now back down to 2 databases in my application. Okay, so thank you very much for watching. That's how to install a script and how to remove the script and databases once you've finished with them.